to The Dream, The Journey, and The Promise. This is Ann Enda, and this is my channel in which I'll be walking you through people's lives as they go from their dreams or visions through their journeys and to the realization of the promise. I decided to start this channel for three reasons. One is to make people realize their need for a savior. I believe that God is our creator and he put us on this earth for a reason and a purpose that only we can fulfill. Anything outside of that is vanity. So all that we can amass, all that accolades we can get outside of him will still feel empty. We do need a savior, and I want people to realize that. Secondly, is for impact. We are put on this earth to serve other people. So I'm hopeful that people that watch this channel will walk away feeling encouraged and knowing that their dreams and aspirations are possible, and just giving them the courage to keep going, not to quit, and just keep going because there is light at the end of the tunnel. And lastly, is so that I can share my journey with you. I've been on a journey of self development and just personal growth. And I just want to share that with you. I'll share bits and pieces of it throughout future episodes and just let it unfold as I go through it. So, just to give you a snapshot of what led to this point, about 7 years ago, I went through a separation. I'd been married for about, um, I believe it was 16 years at the time, and I went through a separation. And it was devastating. It had been a long journey getting to that point. It had been difficult, and after the separation, I ended up homeless, and I had three kids who were still in school at the time. So I remember at one point I was talking to my mom. She has since passed, but I was talking to her back then. This was shortly after my separation, and she was trying to understand what happened. So I was explaining it all to her, and I went in for like 45 minutes to an hour, and she was patiently listening to me, and I was just telling her all the things that he had done throughout the marriage. This is my ex I'm talking about. I told her of how I thought he was a bad person and he was mean, and he left me and he didn't even care, and I said it all. I poured out my heart, and at the end of it all, I was expecting her to just side with me. Of course, I'm her daughter, so I expected her to side with me, and after all I'd said, to just help me beat him down for the bad person that he was. And to my awe, when I was done, like I said, she had been listening patiently and quietly. She was just like, okay, and didn't say much through all of my talking. And when I was done, she said one thing, and that was, so when are you going to stop playing the victim? And oh my goodness, in that moment, I was hurt and I felt betrayed and I was frustrated because I just spent all this time telling you what he's done and how bad of a person he is. And instead, she pointed it back to me and said, when am I going to stop playing the victim? So, like I said, in that moment, I was really mad at her. But it took me some time and I started thinking about it. And then, as I thought more and more on it and more on previous situations, I began to realize that, wow, I really was playing the victim. Um, it wasn't it wasn't ever about him. It was about me and what my part in it was. So anyway, since then, God has been revealing stuff to me about myself that I wasn't even aware of. So he's been bringing things to the forefront, and he does that so that he can deal with them, and just continue to grow me into the person that I know he's created me to be. And so I've been on that journey for a while now. And the crazy part of this all is that um, I was I was in church. I was a Christian for most of my life. Like in my childhood, we were Seventh Day Adventists, so we did go to church. You know, I knew about God. It wasn't really about a personal relationship with Him, but it was more of the do's and don'ts of religion, as you know, in my childhood. And then in high school, I started getting a more personal relationship with Jesus. And shortly after high school, I moved to the US and then started my family. And even then, I was still in the church. I guess, after high school, I was, just still believed in God, but was just doing my own thing. And then after my family, then I went back to church and was volunteering church. I was doing, all the things. I was active in church, was there every Sunday. But it wasn't until my separation that I realized how much I didn't really know God, and that's a sad thing because thinking that I'd been in church all that time and still didn't know who God actually was. What brought me to this realization was um, I was homeless and I had nothing. I had no job. I had three kids, one that was going off to college, another in high school, another in elementary, and I didn't have a way to take care of them. And I just felt hopeless. I was devastated. I was hopeless, and I was um, frustrated, And then God really started to show me or teach me how to depend on Him. And like I said before, I always talked about, oh, I trust God. I trust God in this and this, but I never really trusted Him. That's the crazy part is I didn't trust him because I always knew that, okay, I have a husband, he's going to provide what we need. And if he doesn't, I have this plan. I have a plan B and I have a plan C and a possible plan D. So I can take care of things. So even though I say I trust God, I don't really need him for anything because I've got this, right? And that was my life until that point. So then I started realizing that, oh my goodness, I have to trust God for my day to day. I mean, when I woke up in the morning, I had to trust him for where I'm going to stay. Like I said, I ended up homeless, so I was staying with friends off and on. I had no job. My car had been repossessed. I mean, I had nothing. And I had to trust God fully and completely. And God came through in ways that um, I can't tell it all right now. As I go through future episodes, I'll share more with you. But God took care of me. He took care of me and took care of my children. And through that process, He's been bringing me through this um, growth and development of myself and showing me that, oh, there's this parts in you that I need to work on. Oh, there's this part that needs to be dealt with, right? And so that has been my journey over the past few years. And even though now, I know we're on this earth and the material things we want, they're not bad in and of themselves. I honestly believe that God puts those desires in us, but they're so they mean nothing without him. As I think about it, Solomon in the Bible, he was the wealthiest man that ever lived, and God said there will not be another like him. And as you read through his book, first thing you realize is that his wealth was just crazy. Like I don't even think we can accurately imagine his wealth at the time because the people today that are billionaires and have all this wealth still will never compare to what Solomon had. And in the Bible, it describes his wealth as being spoken of by the people around because it was so great that people would come from far to just be at his table and see what he lived like. And it said that even when they got to where he was, first when they were told about it, they thought that's ridiculous. No one can live like that. No one can have that amount of wealth. But when they actually got there and saw it, it was bigger than what had been told to them, which they didn't even believe what had been told to them. So it was bigger and grander than what they had. But anyway, um, after a while, Solomon veered away. So he started his life walking with God. He amassed all this wealth, and then at some point, he veered away from God's plan for his life, and sought after women from a different tribe that God had forbidden him, not to do. So anyway, in his book, he writes that all that wealth was vanity outside of God. So just imagine that anything that you can get in this world, in this life, will still feel like emptiness outside of God. If Solomon, the wealthiest man that ever lived and that will ever be, could say that about all the stuff he had, so imagine, for us who have much less, I mean, it's not going to be worth anything for us to chase that outside of God. Anyway, so I say that to say that if we put God first, then everything else will fall into place. It really isn't about what we can get in life, but it's about who we become. And that's been my biggest realization as I go through this journey. It's like God is more concerned about the person that we are becoming, because He created us to be these people that He knows we can be. But um, as human beings, we're just all about, we forget about the being part or the becoming part. And we want to chase these things, and we want this thing thinking that, oh, it will bring us happiness, or it will bring satisfaction. Oh, well, if I could just get this, then I'll be set. But the truth is, like Solomon said, it's all vanity outside of him. So the bigger thing is, who is it that we're becoming in this process? And the person we become then becomes the person that can handle that dream that God put in our hearts or put in our lives. So this is my desire. My hope for this channel is that you'll see your need for God. It will impact you in a positive way, encourage you to keep going, keep moving forward, and again, share my journey with you all. So I hope you tune in to future episodes. We'll go through characters in the Bible, and we'll get people that have gone through, uh, different walks of lives, people that have um, are in different areas in their walks in life, people that have realized their dreams, people that are still walking through it, so that they can come and share their journey, right? And I hope it encourages you all. So if you feel led to, subscribe to my channel, share it with somebody. And until next time, I like to say, remember to live, to love fully, to forgive freely, and to make each moment count. Love fully, because if you love your neighbor, you've actually fulfilled the law. Forgive freely. Don't hold anything against anybody. It actually frees you up to forgive them. And studies show that things that we hold on to actually eat us from the inside out and create diseases in our bodies. So forgive people, forgive them freely. It serves you well to do so. And lastly, make each moment count. We can't master our lives in a day, but if we master the day, then we'll master our lives. And the day is composed of these small moments that we can make count. So do something that matters. Read a book, learn something that edifies you. Go out and be of service to somebody, because all these little moments that are seemingly insignificant, that's what adds up to a life well worth living. And at the end of life, that's all that will matter. It's not about what we have, because we have to leave that here. So anything that we accumulate still has to remain here. But then, how did we impact others, and how were we of service to others? And what did we do for the kingdom that matters in eternity? So, again, I love you all. God bless you. And remember, love fully, forgive freely, and make each moment count. God bless.